You got to love Lori Waffenschmidt in the newsroom when she says there's way too many accidents to tell you all of them. I'm just going to tell you the ones where the roads are closed down, and there's several. My name's Jeff. It's Westside Jeff, and we've got icing going on across the area. Again, it's refreezing, and it's across everywhere. I took a call earlier from a guy from Carrollton that said, yep, ice up here. I've had 4 or 5 calls from listeners that said, yep, where I am, it's ice on the roads, and it's you got to be real careful. Doesn't matter whether you have 2-wheel drive, 4-wheel drive, front-wheel drive, rear-wheel drive. It doesn't matter. It doesn't help you. Ice is ice, and you can't stop on ice. So be very careful out there. The Cotton Bowl's in town, and Ohio State is up 28-14. My name's Jeff, Westside Jeff, born and raised in Columbus, Ohio, home of the Ohio State University. So Buckeye, I did not go to Ohio State. I went to a different college up in the state of Ohio, but you can't live in Columbus without loving Ohio State Buckeyes, and you're indoctrinated, and I'm indoctrinated. So it's great to see. Sorry for the Houston or for the Austin-based Texas Longhorns, but Ohio State's going to end up facing Notre Dame in the national championship in college football. Find it interesting. This is the first year of the college football playoffs. And there was always talk about expanding college football playoffs to give more teams an option, but in the end, it's the blue chip teams that are still there. So you can put in all the other teams you want. You can go 16 teams if you want. This year, I think there were 12. You can go to 14, 16, 18, 20 teams, but at the end of the day, I still think it's going to always come down to your blue chip teams. Ohio State's a blue chip team. So congratulations to my Ohio State Buckeyes. It's in the fourth quarter. They're up 14 points. They have the ball, and it's going to end that way. We're talking about delivering food. As we get into wintertime like this, as it gets colder outside, we had the snow like we did earlier this week. We have freezing roads right now. People are more apt to order out food, and they order food to be delivered to them. And it amazes me the stories I hear about food delivery stories and those people who deliver food and the things they've experienced, like the guy that called Lawago and says wife in Wichita Falls delivers groceries. And she delivered 6 cases of bottled water to a home, apartment or condominium that the person was up on the 6th floor, and the elevator was broken. So she had to carry 6 cases of water up the stairs, one at a time. This is a young lady. This is a woman carrying cases of water up 6 flights of stairs. A big beefy guy, looks like a weightlifter, comes to the door. He's $1.50 short, and says, "Oh, sorry, $1.50 short. Hopefully that works." Never even tipped her. That's unacceptable. Those are the kind of stories you get. That's what happens, and that is uncalled for. And I think that's screwing with tipping these days and giving a bad name for those in the real, true service business, food service business. I want to hear your story. 800-288-WBAP. 800-288-9227. Let's get to some calls and talk to Michael from Dallas. Michael, thanks for calling. You're on with Westside Jeff.
Hey, Jeff. I've been with Uber for quite a while, about 8 years now. And, the tip baiting, it's getting pretty crazy. I mean, you go and pick up all this stuff, waste all your time, spend your gas. You get there, you're talking, no telling how long it'll take you in the snow, right?
Right. Or how about the freezing roads we have now?
Oh, yeah. I was going to add that, too. I'm on my way home. I just left Denton to go back to Louisville. I'm having to do 25 on the highway. I mean, there's accidents everywhere right now. I mean, it's bad. I wouldn't advise anybody to be out
Lori
here.
Waffenschmidt in the newsroom says, I'm not going to tell you where all the accidents are because we don't have enough time, but I'm just going to tell you where the roads are closed. Yeah. It's bad.
I mean, all the way from Denton going back south towards, downtown. I saw 2 or 3 accidents, from Denton, Corinth, and here in Louisville. I mean, it's bad out here, man. And it doesn't look like it's bad, but the water, it looks like it's still water, but trust me, it's frozen.
Put your skates on. You can skate through there. You can skate through there. Sure. It's black ice, so you got to be very careful. If you don't believe, those of you listening, if you don't believe me, listen to our callers who are telling you that, so be very careful about that. Michael, tell me about the tip baiting.
Man, it's gotten worse over the years, and a lot of the deliveries are getting stolen too. So like people that are working on the apps that just don't really care. Maybe it's like their once or twice a week gig, right? So they don't care. They're going in and stealing these orders of people that aren't tipping, because if you get a hit that's like $2 or $3, people will go in and just steal that food. They'll show the name. They'll get the food. They'll go out to the car and they'll just cancel the order, and that goes back out to the next driver. And so they've got the food. The next driver spends all its time coming over here and picking up the food. You walk in there and they're like, "Oh no, that's already been picked up." No, you mean it was stolen because you didn't make them start the trip. Yeah. So there's a lot of stuff going on, man. After 8 years of doing this, it's getting old.
Michael, give me one piece of advice to listeners that you would love to give to our listeners from your perspective.
Quit taking the small hits. Don't put up with it, right? Number 2, look at your orders when you get them and you get there. Look at your orders. If you see 3, 4, 5 cases of water, just cancel that order. Don't even take it, because there's no guarantees on these tips or anything. You might get all the way there, you lift all this stuff and take it upstairs, you spend 30 minutes, an hour, and then all that's taken away from you.
And those are tips to drivers, to Uber driver, Uber Eats drivers. What tips do you have to people who order food and order it delivered? What advice do you have? I got to believe it's tip well.
Yeah, I mean, tips really make a difference, don't they? I mean, and a lot of
your
people,
reward service, right, Michael?
Yeah, a lot of people don't want a tip, and that's the thing. That's the way these apps work. They're not FedEx, you're not UPS. We work on tips, right? And the way I look at it is, you didn't want to get off your behind to go get your food. But you've got to tip somebody to bring it to you. Nobody wants to go and do your food, get your food for free either. You didn't want to do it. You got to pay somebody to go do it. And if you want your food to get there, you're going to have to pay it, right? Like,
Michael, thanks for calling. I appreciate you being part of the show. Thanks for being a part of the show. Here's what I would say about that, Michael, and that is, no matter what your tip would normally be for having somebody deliver food to you, ramp it up. Do an additional 10% when the weather's bad. If you don't want to go out in bad weather, whether it be dark, cold, rainy, snowy, ramp it up. If you're not willing to put your butt in the car and drive out and pick it up yourself, then tip a little bit better. Let's talk to Eddie in Fort Worth. Eddie, thanks for calling. You're on with Westside Jeff.
Hey, how you doing, Jeff?
Great, man. What's your story?
My story goes way back to 1977. In Chicago, we had a bad snow blizzard that year. It was really bad. And I worked in a restaurant, and I wasn't even a delivery guy, but this night there was a lot of deliveries. Our delivery driver was stuck in the snow, so I went out. And it was a party. They ordered 4 pizzas and a bunch of sandwiches, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I get there, and the bill was like 78 something. And he paid it, and he said, "Keep the change." He gave me 79. And I'm like, 65 cents or whatever. I'm like, that ain't going to work. I said, "Well, your sandwiches are still in the car, right?" And I said, "I'll get the sandwiches while you get my tip." He goes, "Oh, I gave you your tip already." I go, "Well, I guess I'll just eat these sandwiches on the way back." And he goes, no, hold up. And he ended up going to there was like 20 people at this party, right? So he went around and got some money from the people at the party. I ended up walking out of there with $20.
I love it.
I'm a pretty good tipper. I mean, you got to watch it though, because on something like, let's say the Walmart app, so every now and again we have our groceries delivered because me and the wife work. And the tip, you got to pay $9 or $10 to have it delivered anyway. And then the tip for the driver, they usually calculate on their own. If you don't watch it,
sure,
that you end up giving the driver $20 on top of the $9 you paid for the delivery.
Sure,
so you really got to watch. And that's But other than that, I tip pretty good. Because my wife, she used to work in a restaurant. She knows what it's like, So,
well, Eddie, thank you for what you're doing, and thank you for calling. I appreciate being part of the show, and thanks for the tips on the advice on tipping. We're talking tipping when people deliver food to you, when it's bad, when it's dark outside, it's cold outside, freezing rain outside, or the roads are frozen like they are at night. By the way, we have a lot of accidents, which Lori Waffenschmidt and Brad Barton will cover with you in about 16 minutes at bottom of the hour news. And we have freezing fog going on that is really impacting bad road conditions across the area right now. He'll have that for you also in 16 minutes. But we're talking about tips in restaurants. I love Eddie's story. You know what? There's something to be said about leaving a portion of the food in the car, making 2 trips from the car to the house. If they don't tip you enough, then say, great, I like what you ordered. I'll eat the rest of that on the way back to the restaurant. Thank you very much for your delivery. And the guy saying, oh, hold on a second. Let me go through the party and ask everybody for more money. And the guy walked out with $20. That's a great story, Eddie. Thank you very much. I'd love to hear your story as a delivery driver or as a consumer. You got to tip a little bit better. If you're not willing to get your butt out and go pick it up and order food and go pick it up at a restaurant, if you want it delivered to you because of bad weather, then you got to be willing to put up a little extra tip for those folks who bring it to you. My name's Jeff. It's Westside Jeff. I want to hear your story at 800-288-9227, 800-288-WBAP. My name's Jeff, Westside Jeff, on News Talk 820 and 93.3 FM WBAP. A lot going on across North Texas right now, and we got you covered. Westside Jeff in tonight. I got Lori Waffenschmidt in the newsroom. Should be back up at about 12 minutes with the bottom of the hour newscast. Also, Brad Barton, meteorologist, with an update on things there. The latest on the weather, we have a freeze fog advisory. And what that is you've got moisture in the fog. And because the outside air temperature here in Dallas, downtown Dallas, is 33 degrees right now, and it feels like 33. It's right on that freezing mark. And as you get out in some of the suburb areas, it's a little lower than that. It's freezing. And we've taken several callers. Carrollton, McKinney. Let's see. Let me go to my notes. I try to keep track of this. Carrollton, Grapevine, Katy Mills, another Carrollton call, Wichita Falls, obviously, several from Dallas. Everybody's saying the same thing. And that is there's moisture on the roads, it's freezing, and it's what we call black ice. And you don't know until you hit it and you lose control. There's accidents all across North Texas. Ohio State just knocked off Texas in the Cotton Bowl in Arlington in the AT&T Stadium. So you have thousands of people getting ready to leave that stadium. For those of you just turning on your radio, welcome to WBAP. My name's Jeff. It's Westside Jeff. We have freezing roads across the area and a lot of accidents. As Lori Waffenschmidt said, top of the hour, too many accidents to tell you where they all are. I'd just rather tell you all the places where all the roads are closed down because of accidents. So there's several areas, roads across the North Texas area that are closed down because of bad accidents. And that's from the black ice. Lori will have a list of those coming up in about 11 minutes. And then Brad Barton will also be with us with the latest on weather. We're talking about tipping. We're talking about delivery of drivers. And my story is I was born and raised up in Ohio. I used to do radio up in Columbus, Ohio, where I was born and raised. And I've done a lot of snowstorms up there because you get them in Ohio. And one of the things I know is when weather gets bad, wintertime like this, when it gets darker earlier, and when you get snow like we did the last couple days, and when you have bad roads like we have tonight with a lot of accidents going on around the community, people, they still want to eat, and they'll want restaurant food. They don't want to go out to a restaurant and eat and dine in the restaurant, and they don't necessarily want to go to the restaurant, pick up food, and bring it home. So what they do is they'll order it and have it delivered. And my attitude is this. If you are lazy enough, and I am sometimes, to not want to go out to pick up your own food, and you'd rather have somebody deliver it to you because of weather, whether it be dark or cold, snowy or rainy or freezing rain or freezing roads, then you deserve to pay a little more from a tip perspective. And I've taken call after call after call from listeners that said, give me stories like that. I'd love to hear yours. 800-288-WBAP, 800-288-WBAP. The one that sticks out to me is a Guy from Wichita Falls called, said his wife delivers groceries. And a guy, looks like a bodybuilder, delivered or ordered 6 cases of water. His wife delivered it, got to where he lived. It was an apartment complex, I believe is what he said. And the guy lived on the 6th floor. So this woman had to, and the elevator was broken, so she had to walk up 6 flights of steps to deliver cases of water. She had to take 1 case of water up 6 flights, leave it outside the guy's door, walk down 6 flights, grab the second case, and do it again. All 6 cases up the steps. She knocked on the door. Guy opened the door. It was, I forget, $70-some or whatever it was. The guy handed her the money and said, "Oh, sorry, I'm $1.50 short." No tip. Was short paying her. Pissed her off, rightly so. I don't blame her. His answer, he said his wife, what she did is he took one of the cases of water, threw it over the railing down to the bottom floor, turned and walked away. Love it. 800-288-WBAP is the number. I'd love to hear your story. When I was up in Ohio, I had a woman call me once that said during a snowstorm of 8 inches, and it was a Saturday afternoon, I think it was about 5 o'clock. Someone ordered Chinese for, I think it was 4 or 6 people, and the total came to $39.95. She drove to the house, took her 30 minutes to get there, she said. Normally it would take her less than 10. That's how far it would, 10 minutes away from the restaurant. But because of the weather, it took her 30 minutes to get there. She gets to the location where she's delivering it. She gets out of her car. There's 8 inches of snow on the ground. Nobody had shoveled anything yet because it was still snowing. She dredges through 8 inches of snow with her boots and shoes and all that good stuff, gets up to the door. It's about 100 feet from the car to the door. She knocks on the door. Guy answers the door. She says, "I'm so-and-so with this restaurant. Here's your meal. It's $39.95. The guy handed her 2 $20 bills. Now, again, for those of you Philadelphia Eagle fans that can't do math, he was giving her a 5-cent tip. $39.95 is the bill. The guy gives her 2 20s. That's $40. He says, "Keep the change, 5 cents." I don't know about you, but I would have had a different comment for this customer than this woman did. She looked him in the eyes with very loving eyes and said, "Sir, thank you very much for ordering food. We're grateful that you ordered from our restaurant. We hope you enjoy the meal. It's fresh. It's hot. Took me 30 minutes to get here. I apologize for taking so long. The roads are bad tonight. It's $39.95. I appreciate you giving me $40. She opened up her wallet, handed him a nickel, and said, "Obviously, that nickel is more important to you than it would be to me. I want you and your family to enjoy your meal, and I hope that you'll come into our restaurant and patronize us again, and we'll be happy to deliver food to you anytime you want." I don't know about you, but I would have had a different response than she did. But that's real. The kinds of things that you run into when roads are tough like they are now, and we go through snowstorms like we just did, and people ordering food and being rude and not offering proper tips and gratuities. My attitude is, again, Jeff is the name, Westside Jeff. If you're going to order food to be delivered to you because of the weather, if you're not going to go willing to go pick it up because of the weather, then you should up tip. You should tip at least 10 to 15% more because of that. That's my attitude. I'd love to hear your story. I'd love to hear your comments and your thoughts. My name's Jeff. My phone number is 800-288-9227. That's 800-288-WBAP. My buddy Garrett Tarango will answer the phone. In about 3 minutes, Lori Waffen-Schmidt will have an update on the road closures across the area. For those of you coming out of AT&T Stadium, be aware there's a lot of road closures because of bad weather. Be careful. Roads are frozen. Brad Barton will tell you about that in 4 minutes. My name's Jeff. On the other side of this, on the other side of the news, we'll continue the conversation about tips, gratuities, food deliveries. Want to hear your story? 800-288-WBAP, 800-288-9227. Westside Jeff on News Talk 820 and 93.3 FM WBAP. Ohio State just knocked off Texas Longhorns. The national championship for college football will be, I think it's a week from Monday. I have to look real quick, but it'll be It'll be an interesting storyline because it's the Ohio State University football team against Notre Dame, the Catholics. By the way, the Catholic team, Notre Dame, is coached by one Marcus Freeman. Marcus Freeman was a linebacker at the Ohio State University. Great storyline. So Marcus Freeman, Notre Dame football coach, was a Buckeye, graduated from there, played there, and now coaches Notre Dame. I contend this will be probably one of the biggest tickets in sports in a long time. Ohio State fans travel well, certainly, as you can see across what we're seeing across here in Texas. My name is Jeff. It's West Side Jeff from Columbus, Ohio, born and raised Columbus, Ohio. I used to be on the radio up in Ohio when I lived there. Now here in Texas, and get a chance to fill in on WBAP. I did not go to Ohio State. I went to Ohio University. It's about an hour and a half southeast of Columbus, but you can't be born and raised in Columbus, Ohio, and not be indoctrinated towards Ohio State University. And it's been an interesting year in college football because it's the first year in college football. You know, for years, college football came down to all the 78 or 178 bowl games. But big money Dilberts, television network said, we want a playoff just like we do in March Madness. College presidents fought that forever. And they finally acquiesced, and this is the first year of the college football playoffs. It's interesting, the very first year of the CFP, Ohio State and Urban Meyer went on to win the national title that year. And this is the first year of a new redesigned college football playoffs, and Ohio State's playing in the national title. Isn't that interesting? Coach Ryan Day has gotten drilled over the Michigan game. The team looked horrible, sucked. Listen, I'm a football fan. I'm a college football fan. I know this is not a sports station, but here's my 2 cents worth. And for those of you who are fans of football, you're going to think I'm nuts. By the way, those of you walking out of AT&T Stadium, be very careful driving. Be very careful driving. I'll tell you why in 60 seconds, because there's a lot of accidents. I'll tell you the rest of the story in 60 seconds. But here's why Ohio State football is important. When you watch Ohio State, I want you to think about this. The quarterback is Will Howard. He transferred in from Kansas. Will Howard is a modern-day version of Josh Allen. Josh Allen, quarterback for Buffalo Bills. I know it's a tall order. Many of you may argue with me. I got to tell you, you go back and look at Josh Allen's record, look at his statistics at North Dakota as his senior year, or better yet, the whole duration of playing college football. Will Howard's numbers are better than him. Will Howard's the exact same size as him. Will Howard has the arm that Josh Allen does. Will Howard has a field vision like Josh Allen does. When you look at Will Howard, the quarterback for Ohio State, you can think about a guy named Josh Allen. If he goes to the right team with the right coach, I think he has that capability. Does he turn in Josh Allen? I'm not saying that. I'm just telling you, as a quarterback in a major college football program, Josh Allen and Will Howard are the same person. And Ohio State goes to the national title on the heels of the game tonight here in Arlington, Texas, as they knock off Texas Longhorns. Interestingly enough, Texas Longhorns quarterback is Quinn Ewers. Quinn Ewers originally started and went to Ohio State, was paid $1 million NIL money up there from a car dealer, and after the first year decided transfer, enter the transfer portal, and came back home. I guess that was the right decision for Ohio State, because Ohio State's quarterback at the time was one guy named C.J. Stroud, who now is quarterback in the NFL down in Houston. I suspect Quinn Ewers just played his last collegiate football game. He'll probably enter the draft, is what I would think. Be interesting to see what happens. College football's gotten a lot of talk this year because of the dramatic changes. Those universities, those presidents that didn't want a college football playoff finally got bought off and got enough money to do that. And big advertisers win because they wanted a platform. They wanted to see this. Television networks wanted to see it, and that's what they got. But in the end, they expanded the number of teams. They went to a college football playoff. And in the end, it's still your blue blood schools that have won. Arizona State got knocked out. Boise got knocked out. Those teams that originally got in because they won their divisions got knocked out. We realize now they are not the same level of caliber as a team like Texas, as a team like Notre Dame, as a team like Ohio State. The other interesting thing to me in college football is this. Remember, Brian Kelly was the coach at one time in Cincinnati, University of Cincinnati. Then he went to Notre Dame. Brian Kelly was the head coach of Notre Dame, but he left Notre Dame. He went down to LSU as head coach, and he said he left because Notre Dame couldn't compete on the national stage. Brian Kelly left Notre Dame because he felt that, and he was very vocal about leaving Notre Dame because he felt that they couldn't compete. Notre Dame couldn't compete for the competition for high school athletes because of the grade point averages and the fact that really, truly, to go to Notre Dame, you got to be a student athlete. You can't just go there to play football. So Brian Kelly thought the deck was stacked against him. He left because he didn't think it could be done at Notre Dame. He was very adamant you could do that at LSU a couple years ago. What's transpired? Marcus Freeman was named head coach at Notre Dame. If you've ever seen the video, his team loved that. They were glad he got named coach at Notre Dame. It was riveting to watch that announcement. Brian Kelly goes down to LSU. Brian Kelly hasn't done anything. I think Brian Kelly, to me, is a fraud. He's not a great coach. Marcus Freeman is the real deal. He's an elite coach. To me, Marcus Freeman, head coach of Notre Dame, is a mixture of the coach of the Los Angeles Rams and Andy Reid. He's a great play caller. He gets it. He understands it. He's brilliant at drawing up plays. He's not as crafty as Andy Reid, but he's a player's coach like that coach out in the Los Angeles Rams, Sean McVay. That's what Marcus Freeman is. Going to be interesting seeing the national championship coming up in a week and a half, and that's Ohio State and Notre Dame. My guess is that betting odds will favor Ohio State by 6, 6.5, 7.5 points, something like that. And people have asked me, since I was born and raised in Ohio, what do I think? Well, what I think is this. If Ohio State plays like they did against Tennessee and Oregon and tonight against Texas, any team in the country can beat them. And the other thing I'll say, it's very controversial. Get ready. I think Ohio State could beat probably 5 or 6 NFL teams. People think I'm nuts. But this is a team that has embarrassment of the riches, as they may say, and stacked NFL players across both sides of the ball. Going to be an interesting game. The downside is this. If they knock Will Howard out, anything can happen. If Will Howard goes down with an injury, if Will Howard, the quarterback of Ohio State, goes down with a concussion, it's a different game. Anything's possible. But this Ohio State defense is for real. The edge rushers are for real. That quarterback's for real. And that receiving course, the best in the country. My name's Jeff. It's Westside Jeff. I want to continue conversation. For those of you coming out of AT&T Stadium, those of you on the roads, we have a lot of traffic accidents in this community right now. A lot of roads are closed because of what I'll call black ice. We have freezing fog that's freezing the roads and bad traffic accidents with a lot of roads closed. Top of the hour in about 14 minutes, we'll have all the details on those. Too many accidents to name, but Lori Waffenschmidt in the newsroom will tell you all the roads that are closed and get you home safely. 800-288-9227 is my number, 800-288-WBAP. Got to hit a break on the other side of this. I want to continue the conversation about what Brad Barton said we're experiencing weather-wise and how that's going to impact your commute on the roads in the next hour and a half or so. My name's Jeff. It's Westside Jeff. In on News Talk 820 and 93.3 FM WBAP. We have a boatload of accidents across the area. My name's Jeff. It's Westside Jeff. Welcome to those of you coming out of AT&T Stadium. You saw a heck of a game tonight with Ohio State knocking off Texas. Now Ohio State plays the national championship game against Notre Dame. I suspect those tickets will be really, really expensive. Both schools have a fan base that travel well, and we'll spend the money for that. It'll be a highly rated television game also. Got a note from Kevy, a regular listener, that said He wanted to watch the game, but he couldn't watch it because he didn't have all those apps and doesn't have cable and so on and so on. And I share in your frustration, Kevin. You understand it. I'm still the guy who has cable, and I still, yes, I'm that old school guy with cable. I like going from channel to channel and going back and forth real quick, and I don't want to have to go in and out of streaming services. Those of you that have cut the cord or cord nevers, you get it. You're going from app to app, service to service. There's a buffer in between there. I want the ease of clicking and going right now, real time. I just want. That's what I get. That's what I want. I'll pay for it. Big game coming up. Ohio State against Notre Dame in a week and a half. It'll be a highly rated television game, and it'll be interesting to see what happens. Producer Garrett just told me during the break that a listener called and said it's already up on the board at Ohio State favored at 9.5 points, and my immediate response to that was I'd take Notre Dame 9.5 points. And I think that comes down from 9.5. I do. I think it's closer to 6.5, 7, 7.5. I think 9.5. 9.5 is a lot of points. I'd take that bet right now. I think Ohio State, if they continue to play like they are, won't be anybody to beat them. Nobody. But you can't always count on that, so you never know. It's why they play a game. You never know what's going to happen. My name's Jeff. It's Westside Jeff. Here's what's going on in weather. Brad Barton, our meteorologist, he's coming up top of the hour in about 10 minutes. But he'll tell you the latest, and that is here in Dallas, in the city, it's 33 degrees right this second, and it feels like 33 degrees. That's your wind chill. But we're going to get down to 20 degrees tonight. As we get down close to 20, as Brad will say, it could be 18, it could be 22, but we'll get down close to 20. What you're experiencing now, and we've taken calls throughout the night, many on the air, many off the air. People are calling from all around the Dallas-Fort Worth area and Arlington area, saying that there is moisture on the roads and it's freezing. It's what we call black ice. It's what I call black ice. It's freezing, it's refreezing, and it's creating a real problem. A lot of accidents, dozens and dozens of accidents across North Texas right now. Several roads are closed down. Lori Waffen-Schmidt in the newsroom will have that for you in about 9 minutes, top of the hour. She's gathering that information, putting together the latest, talking to the police departments and the State Patrol, so she has an accurate reflection so she can help you get home. Give me 9 minutes. Lori will have that for you coming up top of the hour. Brad will also have an update on the weather, but we have a freeze fog advisory right now, freezing fog. What's happening is you got moisture in the air as in fog, and because it's 33 degrees or lower in some outlying communities, it's freezing. So on contact, it freezes. Now, as you're driving down the road, you may think, it's not a big deal. But I'm taking caller after caller after caller, and we've heard Garrett's taking calls from multiple troopers that said, tell people to slow down. There are a lot of accidents, too many to count. I'd have to spend an hour telling you what those are. Maybe not an hour. I don't know how many, but it's a lot. Lori will have that for you top of the hour coming up in a few minutes. One of the things that we experience when weather is like this is people want to have food delivered to them. And we've been talking throughout the night off and on about when the weather gets bad, consumers, homeowners say, you know what? I want food from a restaurant, but I'm not willing to go get it and pick it up and bring it home, so I'm going to order it and have somebody deliver it to me. Well, my attitude is this. If you are lazy enough, if you don't want to go out in the weather to get your own food because of the weather, then you should be tipping your driver 10, 15, 20% more than you normally would. That's only fair. Take care of them. I continually take caller after caller after caller that tells me horror stories, the opposite of that. My name's Jeff. It's Westside Jeff. I grew up in Columbus, Ohio. I used to do talk radio up there. I remember doing a snow show on the station I was on up there. A woman who runs a Chinese restaurant during a snowstorm that dropped 8 inches of snow, and as the snow was coming down, their phones were lighting up like the 4th of July. Folks ordering food, because it's exactly what I said. When weather's bad, you order out. She got in her car, drove 30 minutes to deliver this food. It was normally a 10-minute drive, but because of the weather, it was 30 minutes. She parked, walked 100 feet or so up to the front door, knocked on the door. Guy answered the door. She said, "Here's your food. It's $39.95. He handed her two $20 bills and said, "Keep the change." Now, for those of you Philadelphia Eagle fans that aren't very good at math, that was a nickel tip, 5 cents. She looked him in the eye with very loving eyes and very nicely said, "Sir, thank you very much for ordering food from our restaurant. We hope you enjoy it. It's fresh. We made it ourselves. Got here as quick as we could. The roads are bad. We're sorry about how long it took us. But we hope you enjoy your meal. And we thank you for patronizing our restaurant. We hope you'll come into our restaurant sometime and eat. But continue to order food from us because we'd be happy to deliver it to you." Obviously, you're in a situation that this nickel tip will be more valuable in your pocket than it is mine. You keep the nickel. Have a great night, and thank you for dining with us. Turn around, walked away. She batted her eyelashes at him. I wouldn't have been so nice. I don't know exactly what I would have said, depending on my mood. I might have said the wrong thing, gotten fired, but listen, if you're going to have somebody bring food to you because of weather, you don't want to go out in the bad weather, then take care of your driver. Tip them appropriately. Reward them.